Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome back to Alatra TV Middle East. Today we have another amazing conversation on the topic Creative Society. And my very special guest today is Tallulah D'Silva. Tallulah is a winner of the second prize, Silver Prize, of the Golden Door Awards 2020 for her essay and blog. Also, Tallulah is an architect who cares deeply about environment. She is an educationist and a very kind and amazing person. Today we are going to talk about her blogs, about how she envisions creative society, why it is so crucial today to shift towards the format of the creative society. But to start with, I would like to ask you, Tallulah, how are you? How is beautiful Goa doing?
I'm well, and Goa is fine, but we've had a lot of cases rising, and currently the government is going to announce a lockdown. I have received some messages that possibly, tomorrow we may have a lockdown for a few days.
Yes, the
Well,
situation nowadays is difficult, and we all
it's true.
hope and really send our best wishes to people of India and go to overcome these difficult times.
Right.
And today, more than ever before, we understand the importance of shifting towards creative society because being together in unity, we can give a better care and protect human lives.
True.
Thank you for joining us today very much. And just before we turn to the topic creative society, could you please share your story with our viewers? First of all, we would like to know what you do, what motivates you to do what you do, what inspires you, and also what was your blog about, the blog which got a second prize at the Golden Door Awards.
So I'll begin with the first, question. That is, what motivates you? So I've always had a passion for writing, but never thought that I could, devote myself and my time to really writing. And what is writing really? It's basically, sharing what we do, what I do, what inspires me, the challenges that I'm going through, day to day things. It's like writing a diary. And, more than 10 years ago, when my children were born, I felt, that I was multitasking, taking care of my children. And I just felt that I could do more. And one of the things, that came up was environmental issue in Goa. And I was interacting with some of my mentors. And I discovered that, I could write about it. And it started with that, a little note that had some impact through social media. In fact, I had a social media account simply to convey, issues that impact my community, society, and the environment. And after that, there was no looking back. I immediately, after this, I got opportunities to write in the local dailies. I met a local editor who said that, "Tallulah, I really like your writing, and could you write for us? And it'll be uncensored, so you can write straight from your heart, and we will publish it." So generally, I write about, my work, that is architecture, and how we can move to alternative ways of building, collaborative building. So everything is based on creative thinking, of collaborative working, like a collaborative creative society. And I started, so when I write about, the environment, about architecture, about social issues, family, issues, and tenets, of love, caring, and forgiveness. And constantly I've been getting feedback from my readers who say that, what I read about you was inspiring. Now, what inspires me? So there are two aspects. I think one is, I was raised with very strong values of spirituality. So the life of Jesus is something that plays a big role in my life. So anytime that I'm down, I look at Jesus's life and take inspiration from the challenges that he himself went through, whether it is, betrayal, then humiliation, suffering. I think suffering is at the core. And besides that, of course, people, very famous people who followed him, who preached and practiced, like, the father of India, which is Mahatma Gandhi. And besides that, of course, my larger inspiration comes from the children that I work with. I work with children coming from different backgrounds, and some of them, have to manage with a meal a day. They have lots of challenges in their day-to-day life, and when they tell, their stories of strife, their stories of overcoming challenges, that gives me, huge inspiration. I feel that if these children can do it, I can also do it.
Absolutely. What inspired me a lot is that your story, how you started writing. So you didn't have any special studies. It's not your profession. It's something going from your heart.
True. Yes. Yes.
Is it more family oriented or women oriented, community oriented, human oriented?
I think it also comes from, how I practice and live life. And it is not focused only on one particular aspect. So I love my work, which is architecture. So I'm, building more closely to nature, building with community. So that is one of my passions. And besides that, I have a very strong bond with nature. And that was because, my father inspired me. I spent a lot of my moments in my childhood with him in nature. So that, because of that, I have this sort of close bond, I feel, with nature. And therefore I've been working on a lot of environmental issues. So it makes sense for me to write about it when I'm troubled. And all my writing came from, the transformation I was going through. So if it is pollution or garbage, it was something that I myself felt, transformed, because I adopted practices to overcome, these things. And subsequent to that, I started working with children more than 10 years ago, working with different, communities, and started, social initiatives that impact, the community. I worked with communities that they didn't have basic toilets. I worked with communities that didn't have access to education. And all of this, again, came from a transformation within me. I felt that, because I reformed, I transformed, I was able to do the work that I engaged myself with. And beyond that, I was able to write about it. Now, why writing is important? Just like we read and get inspired, we read about people who have had transformations themselves, who have moved in community, at large, in spite of the difficulties that, were prevalent at a particular time. So I think we write so that we can inspire others, and that is critical, to raise a voice, to speak up, to say, that this, what is happening, is not right, and I would like to change it. I think we can change it, and this is the thing that has happened. So all my writing is to do with, experiences from the heart, from working with people. I try to showcase, be the voice of others who have not been heard.
True. You're so right about how important it is to start talking and using all tools to inform each other. And sometimes we live in the conditions that we get very much resistance. We lose this sensibility towards certain things, and we start to take as normal things which cannot be normal for a human. This is why I absolutely agree that importance of speaking up in unity, trying to find solutions, is crucial. And this is also the most difficult thing. We know it for sure, because since the project Creative Society started, we are still at the beginning, and we are at the informational stage. And the informational stage is all about telling people that we can live in another format of society. We can change. We
Yes.
can unite. It's even very simple, because it is our natural spiritual path to live in peace and harmony. We all desire it, and we can make it if we all agree on it. And while we are informing each other, we ask questions also. We start to question ourselves, and we start to question uh, each other. Okay, if I don't like it this way, how should it be?
Yes,
And
yes.
at the very beginning, we met people who said, "Guys, I could tell you everything what I don't like. But then you ask me how I envision society that I would be happy. I cannot give you an answer because I never took time to imagine this kind of society or relationship. This is why, Tallulah, I would like to ask you this question. Can you please describe such a society that you would be happy?"
I liked your question about, how at a given point in time we connect to people who think alike. So I think the term is finding your tribe. And I think all through our process of evolution or transformation, we begin to find, the reason we find our voice to speak up is because we also find friends, mentors, others who think alike, who envision the same way as we do. And having worked with children, the larger part of my work engages children. So I can't think of a community, of a society without children. And the children who can influence us. You see today, um, all of us are born equal, right? And it is only when we grow up that we learn, all other discrimination from our surroundings, whether it is
True.
our families, our parents, relatives, whether it is our mentors, whether it is our peers, the neighborhood. We learn all of this discrimination, and it is very unfair because children will tell you that this is not my choice. I have a name because somebody named me. I come from this background because my family belongs to this background, and I can't do anything to change that. But yes, what we can change is change the way we think. We can change the way we react, right? So I see a community, a world community like this. How are we connected? I'm connected to you, Alina, purely virtually. I know that you exist, and it gives me such joy that somebody thinks like this also exists in another part of the world. And so similarly, we are connected to so many across the world. And even if I'm in a situation where I'm surrounded with people, or a circumstance which doesn't think the way I think even remotely, wherever we are, we can bring about that change. So, how do we proceed with bringing about this change? So one is mentoring. Constantly, I feel, we need to have youngsters, youth, and children who can influence, our politicians, seniors, elders, older people who are in governance, So the first thing is to mentor children right, to mentor youth right. And today you'll find a lot of youth speaking up. This was not the case some years ago, and it is heartening to see, youth, children leading campaigns today, saying that, look, I don't like what is done to my environment. My environment is like my mother nature, and I don't like it. And I think this is the way you should, either implement this project, or you should conserve this area, or you should be more humanitarian both towards environment and to people. So I see a society with my tribe, a tribe that thinks alike, not only in my local area, all across the world, because the planet is like one home, and all of us are like one family. So I see that. And in our spaces, I see all of us becoming change makers. We are change makers, and we have to take more in our fold. Leadership is not about one person. Leadership is not about following some one person. Leadership is holding hands together. Leadership is walking together. Leadership and making a community, forming a society, is doing it together collaboratively. And all these examples and ideas are not new. We've had the most phenomenal traditional communities living like this. as a community. And there are so many examples. And because there is a fraction of that, you find that because there is a division in that sort of module, that is why you find that the world today is facing so many problems. What if we all love nature? What if our politicians today, our governments today, said that environment or nature is most important, and while as per our constitution we are supposed to protect it, we are not practicing it. So if our leaders and our governments were endorsing these values, then we wouldn't have so many problems, and we would live a more equitable, as a more equitable community.
Yeah, we fought a lot and we had a lot of discussions and live conversations like that, also in round tables and in conferences organized by the participants of Creative Society projects. We were talking and discussing a lot of topics, similar topics, and definitely we came to one understanding that it's all about shifting from
Yes,
of course we have to be changes where we are, but we can either be in the environment that we always have to fix, or to be in the environment where we can start creating. And in
correct.
order to put ourselves in the environment there we can become creative, where we can really show our best abilities, we should create this environment, and uh, we should go away from this unhealthy competition and
True.
living in the conditions where human life is just a tool to achieve certain geopolitical or economical benefits for certain people, and come to that true nature of a human. And equally and equality, as you mentioned, is part of our life,
Yes,
is our true nature, as well as our wish and desire to live in peace, first of all, in happiness, in understanding. If we start to watch carefully what is happening around, we come to the understanding how artificial are all
yes,
divisions, segregations, conflicts, wars, and even crises. Everything is artificial. So it all happens because, as you mentioned, people, they put responsibility to someone and they don't participate. They are not leaders themselves. There is no responsibility of what is happening around me, in the community, in my country, in the whole world.
true.
And this is why in the Creative Society there are the 8 foundations of the Creative
Yes,
Society, those pillars on which we can build such a society. We can see them now on the screen. The first one is human life, which is the highest value. Human freedom is the second one, and all people are born free and equally. Human safety, of course, which includes also covering necessary needs, transparency and openness of information, creative ideology, development of personality, which is crucial for the comfort of the society, justice and equality, of course, and self-governing society is number 8, is the pillar that all people are responsible for what is happening, and everyone has right and should be an active participant of what is happening in our society. As you mentioned, these pillars are nothing new to us. And in the conference, in the global conference on the 20th of March 2021, Creative Society, What the Prophets Dreamed of, we came to the understanding that all prophets, God messages, and people of wisdom, they were all telling us about Creative Society, how we should live, how we should treat each other. And I would like to ask your opinion. Um, where is that starting point where we can make this change? What would you do? What would be your first steps to make this change in our society?
So I think like you've already mentioned, the pillars say it all, and the answers are all in those eight pillars that define what a more equal society should be like, a more equal and creative a society should be like. So I think what is the starting point? I think one is to completely remove competition. You know, in Mahatma Gandhi's famous words, he often said that there is enough in the world for every man's need, and but not for any man's greed. And again, the lessons are, I always take inspiration from nature, and for any problem I think our answers lie in how animals live in nature. Everything, there is a tree that provides fruit. It does not use the fruit for itself, but it provides fruit for everybody else. The sweetest fruit that it creates from using just soil, water and sunlight, right? So there is everything in nature for an, if you look at resources, there is enough. And if we learn to share this equitably, then there is no need for us to fight. So where can we begin? Again, I say that we begin with our collective tribe that we are already working with. Our little communities, our little tribes, our little groups where we are already doing work. Begin there, and because you don't have to convince people, you don't have to waste time in converting people to your ideology or to the ideology that everybody follows, correct? So I think the thing is to spread the energy of the collective that we're currently working with, and reach out to other communities, other hubs across the world that are working on similar grounds, to strengthen each other, you know and then begin working with children again. So begin influencing the young, the youth in our community, students and children, where in their formative years, you impart the values of the eight pillars. You impart, just like we were taught as children, so many of these values of compassion, values of truth, values of honesty, values of sharing, all these are already there in the pillars of the creative society. So I would say that invest all our energies in the youth of today, in students, in children. And again, this comes with respect to the groups that we are working with all across the world. So if you're working with let's say a more mature group of people, then you have to influence beyond that group. If you're working with students from colleges, from schools, then you have to expand your influence from beyond that. So I would say that begin with the close groups first, build a very strong army, and then increase the size of influence, increase the circles of influence. And today technology provides us with the tool. Today,
Absolutely.
when I started 10 years ago, every action had to be on ground. Not
Hmm.
that it shouldn't be. Every action had to be on ground. If I cared about how architecture had to be practiced, if I wanted to bring people together to work with mud building, I had to do that on ground, right? But today the opportunities are such that the pandemic has locked us down, but we are connected to every person in any part of the world. And
Hmm.
I think that is a power, that is a tool of positivity that we need to use well. We have to reach out to communities all across the world, share our examples, share our stories, so that we can build and strengthen our community across the world. I think that is critical, using the tools of virtual communication along with the work that we are doing on ground.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And also, speaking about this tool, how important it is to use this tool properly, because each of
Yes.
us today is a kind of content creator, right? Never before in the history we had such an opportunity to
Yes,
share our opinions, our visions with the whole world. And today we see that, from my point of view, a lot of responsibility is on each person
yes,
who starts social media networks. What we share, do we share something
absolutely,
which makes us stronger, which brings more
absolutely.
unity? And from your vision, talking about content, creative content, and content of the creative society, what should we multiply?
I think today we live in a world which, because of media, and because I would say largely, if you look at media, media has become corrupted to a level where there's so much fake news. Earlier, when we read something on the newspaper or saw something on television, it was the truth, and today it's not the same because. All news is sometimes doctored, all messages that we receive is sometimes corrupted, and therefore you can't make a decision of what is right and wrong. And we are living at a point in time where there is more untruth than there is truth, right? So I think you said it very well that today we need to practice what we do in our work and in our passions, with a far more higher responsibility. And so it is pertinent, it is very, very critical that we share more stories of truth. It is important that we share, experiences, things that are happening in our community as positive stories, right? Because today, if you see in the media, there are so many stories of negativity and stories that can mislead you, you know and these do have a large impact on people who are reading it, people who are watching it. So I think it is critical today to share stories of positivity, stories of truth, and reach out, across networks to share these stories. Share these stories with a very large picture of positive change.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very much important. And also, this information, what we upload, then we produce it, then we go to
Yes,
communities, we go to families, we go to office, and we start to spread this information further. So
yes,
that it's very much important, really, to start telling truth, facts, giving solutions, finding solutions, and the most important today is to unite people. This
yes,
is what the Project Creative Society is all about. It already on this platform already today millions of people are united, and by our actions more and more people are joining every day, and this global movement one day will give us an opportunity really to shift this consumerism format towards
yes.
the creative, there we can finally build a world we are dreaming about. And just my very last question today would be, what would you like to wish to the viewers of ALLATRA TV and participants of the Project Creative Society?
My message to everyone would be, I feel really blessed at this point to be connected to so many people, and through this platform also, to so many people who are change makers, who are truth tellers. And it is important to be connected, and inspired by the work that each one is doing. It's inspiring because today we live in a time where it is very, very challenging everywhere, whether in our personal lives, whether in our professional lives, and in the passionate work that we do. There are so many challenges. You have to walk that path alone. Sometimes there is nobody, where you can seek support from, especially when you're working on ground. You get bullied, you get threatening calls, you get challenged, to carry on the work that we do. I think so it is important. This platform is fantastic, and I invite youngsters especially, to join the platform if you believe, in the tenets of a creative society, if you believe that in an inclusive, transparent, caring society. And I say this because when we join hands, when we share similar values, it just makes our work stronger. It makes our work reach more people, and that is critical today, that we reach out to people whose voices are not heard. We reach out to people who need that extra push. So I invite viewers and others also who are not yet connected to join, because we are doing work voluntarily. We are giving time beyond our professional work to be able to create positive impact in society, and this is needed today. This is critical today.
Absolutely, I agree. Thank you so much. Tallulah, we are also testing the theory of 6 degrees of connection. This is a social theory according to which we are all connected through 5 or fewer social connections only. And thanks to Tahira Amirhan, the founder of Golden Door Awards, you are here today. So whom you would like to nominate for our next show? Do you know already who you would like to pass this place?
The baton. Yeah, I would like to pass on the baton to another, recipient of the award. That's Rusty. And I would
Rusty, she
send you.
was
Yes.
a couple of days ago only.
Okay. So I will send you a few nominations, not just one. Yeah.
Thank you.
If that
So
is okay.
this was the world is small, right?
Yes.
But yes, it was such an amazing broadcast as well. Thank you so much for being with us today, for your shining, for your understandings, vision, for the truth which you brought with you today, and for your smiles as well.
Thank you.
Please don't hesitate to register on allatraunites.com. It's very simple. Dear viewers, you just visit allatraunites.com. There is a red button, Join Us, and choose your language, answer 1 or 3 questions, leave your contacts, and press the button Join. And then volunteers and participants of the Project Creative Society from your country will contact you. And just as a present to finish our broadcast, we would like to show their song, which was a gift to the viewers of the conference Creative Society, What the Prophets Dreamed of, made by an author and a popular singer from New York, Avram Russo. So let's watch this video and see you soon on ALLATRA TV. Thank you, Tallulah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Lost, too many hearts fall down. With no place to run, we can't turn away like it's okay now. There's too much to be done. It's time to reach out to the broken. We need to let them know they're not alone. Let's be the difference that they can see. All it takes is just one day. Let's be the hands that hold them, and the hope that heals the hurting. Let's wrap our arms around them and show the love that they have been searching for. There's so much we can do when our hearts come shining through. Let's be the change that it takes to save the world. So many children without a place called home. Who's gonna take them in? And the hungry on a broken road, facing the night again. We can't ignore them when we can all see and sisters, I say to you, love one another, care for each other, and for just a moment, let's set aside our own needs and our own desires so that we can help change someone's life. We can make a difference. We can pick up those who have fallen down. But first we must be willing to give. We must be willing to sacrifice. Because after all, love is sacrifice. So give to those who really need our help. Let's come together now and make this a better place. Good deeds can save the world. Let's save the world. Let's be the hands that hold them and the hope that heals.